So in part one, we talked about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's happening in February, and we sort of framed it in more of a negative kind of light due to AI and all of the negative implications that will come of that. So in part two, we tried to paint a little bit more of a positive light and then talk more about what's happening in the rest of the year, which is all of the outer planets and air and fire signs for the first time in hundreds or thousands of years, and sort of try to paint a positive light about how that could lead to initiation and people sort of being more willing to fight for their rights and be a little bit less stagnated and things like that. So in this one, I sort of just want to give a really realistic perspective of what is most likely to happen, as well as give you some dates to look out for, and then sort of just talk about the energy of the year as a whole. So right off the bat, at the beginning of this year, we have this very strong clustering of planets happening around January 17th through January 20th. The Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Pluto will all be very close together. If I'm not mistaken, they will all be within like 7 degrees of each other. So this is sort of the kicking off point of the energy that is happening this year. From about January 17th all the way through February 20th is going to be a very strong point where a lot of crap is going to happen. This is a year of extreme initiation and ignition. This is especially going to be reflected by the period from about April 15th to April 17th. I talked about this in the part 2. In this moment, there are 7 planets in Aries, which is something that never really happens. And not like the normal, oh my gosh, this is such a big deal, astrology energy. We're talking like if you actually go back in time and look for the past thousands of years, you don't get such a concentration of this energy. It is unprecedented. So it is the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Saturn, Mars, Neptune, and Chiron, all in Aries at the very same time. This is sort of the highlight of the fiery Aries energy that is reflective of the entire year. People with a lot of Libra, Capricorn, Cancer placements, beware, because this is going to cause a lot of tension with you in particular. But this is a global event type of thing. So these are larger situations that we will watch play out in politics and across the globe. Individuals having more confidence than they've seen in years or perhaps in their entire life. But what I want to really point out is that people will be extremely confident and therefore impulsive and make hair trigger type of decisions or actions due to their individual perspective. And those actions can very much be not aligned with reality. They can be the wrong actions to make. And most importantly, they can be actions that are centered on creating a division instead of an integration when it comes to relationships. And this is decisions that can have long-term effects that are very negative because they are not being thought through. Accountability from others is lost. So, on the positive, people who are always being people pleasers and giving themselves over to others and only listening to others when it comes to taking actions. Perhaps that is an initiative type of energy for them, which is a good thing, right? But to the flip side, there are going to be so many people making rash decisions that have no forethought, and they will essentially not be able to be reasoned with. Making rash decisions and finally deciding my perspective is right and I'm going to do what I want, some people will be fighting for the very things that will harm themselves as well as other people. And unfortunately, this is the energy that sort of carries throughout the entire year. In the Chinese zodiac, this year is the year of the horse, which is independence, movement, charisma, restlessness, and a strong drive towards freedom, right? On top of that, it is a year which is represented by the fire element, which is intensity, momentum, initiation, urgency. So the fire horse year combined with all of the Aries energy And for the numerology girlies, it is a 1 year. And then going back, Saturn Neptune happens on 0 degrees Aries, which is something very unprecedented, which has not happened in thousands of years. It is this nexus point of fiery initiation, individualistic type of energy. So another thing that I want to point out is if everyone is being hyper individualistic, therefore becoming more divided and in their own bubble more than ever, who stands to benefit from that? So if you're watching this video, I'm sure that you understand this concept of divide and conquer and how that works against individuals. That is something to pay attention to. If people are making short-sighted or knee-jerk or hair-trigger type of decisions, and they're being liable to fight for the very thing that harms them if they are not paying enough attention while they're making these decisions, who really stands to benefit? That is just something that you want to think about this year. So the dates to focus on, give or take a few days. January 17th until February 20th, April 15th through 17th, pretty much the entirety of July. There are so many aspects happening between outer planets in July. From July 19th through July 22nd, there is a perfect formation between Pluto at 4 degrees Aquarius, Neptune at 4 degrees Aries, Uranus at 4 degrees Gemini, and Jupiter at 4 degrees Leo. This is the air and fire energy that I was talking about in my part 2 video. If air is the mind and communication, and fire is drive and initiation, you have a lot of mental energy and a lot of initiative type of energy going on. Saturn, Neptune, AI is going to change reality. Neptune is an alternative means of accessing the truth. Saturn is structure. The structure will now be that we have to use an alternative means of accessing the truth because AI will be so ubiquitous across the internet that you will have to fact check pretty much every single thing that you see from here on out. The way that people are going to be running around like a chicken with their head cut off and making rash decisions, as represented by that Aries energy, that one energy, that fire horse energy, is going to cause so much shit to be stirred and so many possibly explosive kind of moments. And the outer planets making that perfect formation is going to be a representation of the larger picture of things shifting into a new space which is dominated by initiation and the mind, and community will be affected the most. So I will leave you with this. There is a popular saying, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? Right? RuPaul. But this year, I would urge you to consider this. If you're a spiritual person and you believe that all is one, which means as above, so below, as within, so without, you are me and I am you, quite literally, then isn't it also true that to love you is to love me?